some of the changes they've made and things like that. I want to talk to you about something a little bit that I've seen internally, because I was a part of the internal test, as Kieran has said on the Arcade Twitter Spaces. And then there's a few other announcements and things we want to go over. So it's going to be a really good episode. We're going to get you up to speed. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. Busy. I'm very busy. I think the reception from most of the people that are playing has been quite positive, which is good to see. A bit of a shame that we can't get absolutely everyone into the game, but it is what it is. But it'll be interesting to see as we open it up and more players come in. But so far, it feels and sounds like it's being received much better than our previous iterations have been.
I definitely remember when PB1 was released and we had 50, 60 people jump into the Discord and watch people play the game. And I feel like we got that on day one of PB4 as well. And it was really exciting to see everyone come together and just see what's happening, see all the changes and upgrades the team has made to the Illuvium overworld game. It's really exciting. How's it going? Who this is? It says hello on chat. But yeah, it's all really great. So let's jump straight into it. We're going to open up with a really great league here. A League of Monia. I'm going to say that this is stage 3.
Okay. I would say 2. 3 is yellow.
Because I know 1's yellow. You reckon 2's brown?
Maybe. Color? I don't know. If Dimitri's watching, he can tell us. But yes, I think so.
Yeah, Dimitri can tell us. All right, the next one here is actually, I'm pretty sure this is the stage 2. I want to say Rye.
Yeah, I don't know the names, but yeah, I love. It was one of my favorites. One of my favorites. All right, in my opinion, it looks just like Dimitri. To be honest,
this one.
Mm-hmm. You can see my comment just underneath.
Yeah. I'll have to take your word for it. But that could make for a really funny meme. So maybe we'll have to do that at some point. I love when I was playing internally.
Scroll down. Scroll down a bit.
Yeah. When I was playing internally, this is what I was trying to get. I'm not doing that on my current hunt for Scoriox journey, but I will get one of these at some point because Shock is my second favorite synergy. So I would love to get a bunch of the Shock Alluvials because 2 of them have just been added to the overworld. So I'm looking forward to trying him out. And this is the other Alluvial I really want to get, is the Fox. I'm going to say this is the stage 2. I'm going to say Quinks or Wink. But I really want to try out this one. It's a mega I've never seen before, and I would love to just see it one time. For some reason, it just doesn't load them properly. It looks so cool. I love how its entire tail comes together and then spreads out afterwards. It looks absolutely awesome. What do you think of this one, man?
Yeah, I love it. I need to go and really dive in and play the game. Yesterday was the first time that I actually properly took some time to play, and I absolutely love it. So, wanting to capture more of the Alluvial Sea. I think there's a bunch that we haven't seen too much of. I mean, the Mammoth is now in the game as well. That one is one that I haven't even tested out. I really want to get my hands on that.
I've heard his Omega is really funny.
Like, it picks you up and drops you. Like,
yeah, he throws an Alluvial to the furthest enemy.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
What's interesting is we now have a lot of Alluvials that target the furthest enemy. The Moth now targets the furthest enemy, the Mammoth, obviously, and there was another one that shoots to the furthest enemy. I can't remember which Alluvial it was, but I would really love to build a team around that because we already had Titanor and Null, which targeted the furthest enemy, and then things like Dualef. So I would really love to build a team that's not even rogues. It just likes to attack the back line, and that's just what it does. That would be really funny. Okay, and here's one of the other monkeys. I'm going to say stage 1 or stage... I don't even know. I'm going to say stage 1. Looks absolutely awesome. And let's have a look at this. So, Johnny says that controller support was a feature that was not in scope, but Andre added it because he likes controllers. Great to hear that. In the recent controls remapping, there was some bug that prevents it working in published builds, but it still works in the actual dev builds. Like, while they're building it, they can test out of this stuff while they're building it. And it still worked there. So that's why they didn't notice it when the bug happened and the full release was put out, which is really unfortunate, but he's going to fix it. He'll get to it. It'll be all good. So don't worry, guys. The other thing is the top 500 of each game in Illuvium. I think including Illuvium Beyond, but you can remind me if I'm wrong. The top 5 of each game have been sent their invites. No thumbs to twiddle. I don't know what the criteria for the rest of the 10K are. Could you help fill us in a little bit on kind of like who else is getting these spots?
Yeah, so obviously we have some of the influencers, the creators, getting automatic access. That's the idea anyway. It seems like quite a few of the creators haven't registered, and that's making a bit making it a bit of a hassle. Also, then we have the partnerships. Some of the team members from our partners, the registrations through partner referrals, through creator referrals that I'm actually going through just before this, that I was going through before we jumped live. That's going to count towards some. And then we are just going to have random, knowing Kieran, watch Kieran streaming. He's probably be giving out a bunch there as well. But we have a couple of other ideas. I was speaking to Dick about some just fun ways rather than just picking it randomly on how we can do that. So that, yes. So those are just some of the other ways to get them.
Hopefully you did the registration right, Brian.
Yeah, Brian, I have not responded to your DMs because my DMs are flooded, and I'm trying to get some urgent stuff done. I'll get to that in a second. In a second means when I get to it.
And yes, Tipsy, there's over 80K registered, as Kieran has said in public Discord. So really exciting times for Illuvium moving forward, that's for sure. And we can see the IMX passport wallets increasing quickly as well.
Huge. And I don't know what's the latest number that's being said publicly on registrations.
I think 90K. I don't know anything beyond that.
Yeah, okay.
So Johnny has said that if there are no major errors, we should hit the 10K mark in about 72 hours. It's sounding like that may take a little bit longer than that, so don't worry. But I would say give them at least a week to try and get the whole 10K in up and running. 72 hours would be really nice, but they're going to make sure and do it right, and we are having some bugs here and there, so I'd rather actually them fix the bugs before letting absolutely everyone in as well. Like some of the really game-breaking ones, like a lot of people are having trouble claiming fuel, ETH is disappearing for buying fuel and stuff.
Not even, but there are things that need to be improved, like you're right, like the claiming ETH thing. It should be made abundantly clear that to be able to be eligible to claim, that's so funny, to be eligible to get the ETH, you need to do at least one run per team. One run per day. So once you do that first run, then you become eligible to claim for more ETH. So it's just things like that, like messaging around that needs to be much, much clearer. So I am annoyed that we have to keep it at 10K for the time being, but I'm also glad because we need to understand those things. So we can make it better for when we do open it up completely.
And yeah, Grant is back in full force with the memes. Absolutely loving to see it. He's also streaming sometimes, which is super fun. But this Supreme Jetpack was going for 36.75 Ethereum. It turns out I found a way I can get like 200 Ethereum every hour. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. And then I'm just going to buy everything off the Illuvidex for the memes, maybe. It'd be really funny. But
how many faucets are you using, by the way?
I found a different way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, can you share it with me later?
Yeah.
Offline.
Yeah, I don't want to flood the market with testnet ETH, but
yeah. I mean, shoot it to me.
Up until this point, I've been using 2 email addresses with 1 faucet. You don't really need that much. So, okay, so the next one here is Ben and the team seem to have a really high target for what they're expecting a Ramfire to cost on the secondary market. Now, it's hard to say what this is. Obviously, it's quite a bit off $100, $150. I think that's fair. I think anywhere near Illuvitas makes sense to a certain degree, which would be around 2K, 2.5K. But I reckon 1K makes a lot of sense as well. So it's probably somewhere around there. Should be really interesting. Should be really interesting to see what they've kind of got planned. But it's looking like it's going to be insanely expensive. Like, it is not easy to acquire a Ramfire at this time. So let's just put it that way. That's the perspective we can put it in. It is a challenge to get a tier 5 stage 3, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, let us sent a phosphorus to Kieran today, though.
Did he? I told him not to. That's so funny because he asked me. He was like, "Hey, what's Kieran's address?" I was like, "Don't send it to him." But what are your thoughts? Do you think things should be more common? Like, do you think the rarity makes sense right now? Like, how do you feel? Let us know in chat as well. I'm keen to get as much feedback on this as possible because
I,
we
th- I
are.
think it's I think it's interesting. I think holos need to be insanely rare. That's a non-negotiable. The other side of the equation is I want the game to be exciting. If you run into a ramfire, then I want that to be a really big moment, but that will only happen if they're hard to come across. That's the issue. And with the addition of master shards, now you have to make the rarity of the alluvial hard instead of the rarity of the shard, which is also a little bit of a bummer, but that is what it is. So I
The
do think
shard
they
is
have to
pretty
be
hard to get, right? The master shard is hard to get.
not really, not with unlimited money though, at least.
Yeah.
But it's only like $100. I would have liked to see that be way more. $100 actually seems insanely cheap for a master shard, in my opinion. That's where it's getting interesting. But I definitely think the excitement needs to be there. If you're finding a ramfire every 2 or 3 runs, it's just not that exciting. But you're finding a ramfire on your 100th, then that is really, really exciting. Maybe not 100th, but like I don't know. They need to be rare to find in a way that makes sense to make the game more exciting. That's what I care about most. But I do expect that to lead to quite high prices, even though I'd rather them not be too extreme. But that being said, maybe you just make sure holos are really cool. And then you can make the alluvials themselves not that rare. That's the other option.
I was speaking to Kieran about it earlier today, and I think the alluvials can be a little bit more common. I think it's a little bit too rare right now, and I think the collection side of things comes into having it be perfect statted / hollow dark hollow. But I think right now they're just a little bit too rare to find, and this is just based on my experience and again just talking to Kieran about it. I'd be keen to try that out at least and see how that affects the experience. And what's a shame right now as well is we aren't getting any hollows because hollows aren't yet in PB4, which is a shame because the first time that I did play internally, we did have hollows in. And the feeling I got when I caught my first hollow, it was a monkia. Like that, it was a cool moment. It's like you see the hollow running around. You're like, oh my God, is it a hollow? It goes into like, it's a cool moment. So keen to see what that looks like. I'm very interested to see if we could potentially lower the rarity slightly and then add the hollow and dark hollow as well, just to see what the experience feels like. I think that's going to be quite important.
I think it's interesting you say that because here is the vibe I'm currently getting. Is Illuvitar's Wave 1. Illuvitar's Wave 1 was slightly not rare enough. You got mostly tier 1s and like a bunch of lynxes. And then when we upgraded the rarities in Wave 2, there were a lot more tier 3s in the mega discs. That's what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping to see you enter a stage 1 zone. You're seeing a lot of tier 1s, a lot of tier 2s. You enter a stage 2 zone, and currently you're still seeing the same alluvials. Now, you're getting way more tier 3s, but there aren't that many. What I would like to see is it's more like a 50-50 split. Half of them are tier 1s, half of them are tier 3. You get to the stage 3 run, and you've got a lot of tier 3s. They're kind of like your base level. A handful of tier 4s, tier 5 still rare, but you have a lot more stage 2 alluvials. I think that would be really cool. I haven't actually been to a stage 3 yet, to be honest, so maybe there is a lot of stage 2 alluvials, but it feels like the stage 2 difficulty is not that much of a step up because you're seeing a lot of the same alluvials, which just feels a little bit rough. They're all higher levels, which is pretty sweet, but I just want to see different alluvials when I'm entering a higher stage of the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
It just feels like a lot of the same. That's all.
Yeah, and I get it. That's why I am curious to see what changes are coming in and how that affects that experience.
But you need to think about the future as well. Even in the like Pokemon Fire Red, you enter the first few routes and it's like all Pidgeys, and you don't get bored of that because there's stuff you find later on. And I feel like when Illuvium has 200 alluvials or 300 alluvials, or there are lots that are kind of like being phased out, that'll reinvigorate the excitement as well. So there's a lot of different elements to play here. But yeah, I would just like tier 1s to be less prominent in stage 2 onwards, really. I think that's the big thing.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree.
So
I apologize. My mind is slightly all over the place right now. I'm dealing with a couple of things.
that's
But yes,
all good.
I'm not fully focused. I apologize.
So the next thing is Ben has said that don't worry, we have price targets for the individual alluvials. So when we do things like increase the difficulty, we get to do things like increase the spawn weights for rarer alluvials so as to keep the supply quantity the same. What he's meaning here is, let's say a Fisto was 1 in every 10 and Ramfire was also 1 in every 10. If people got unlucky in a general sense and they caught like 5 Ramfires and like 2 Fisto, then they might make a Fisto a little bit less rare just for the time being to help balance out those quantities of the rarities, which would be pretty interesting. I don't love it. I don't like the idea of the DAO meddling with rarities over time. But I think it's got some good ideas in there. And then he talks about the new ethereal alluvial system. What the hell does that mean?
Say that one more time.
So he says you'll see more exciting alluvials more often as a result, particularly when we add the new ethereal alluvial system.
I am in the same boat as you. I'll be completely honest. we do have a meeting in a little bit. Maybe I'll hear a bit more about it then.
That sounds really exciting. Actually, like, I don't know why I love the sound of that so much. Maybe it's like a Dark Hollow and something else. Or maybe it's like I really want to find a foe or something. And then you click this little button and it says you're hunting for a foe. Think like a Monster Hunter. And now a foe's going to spawn when you enter the region. And so you're going to make sure you find more of that alluvial. That could be pretty cool. Maybe it costs you money or something. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, excited to hear what that's about.
Yeah, real quick, guys. If any of you guys saw Kieran's AMA recently with Steppen, like in the last hour, please share that with me in DMs or in here. I'm trying to find it. So please share that with me. I appreciate you. Okay, back to the show.
All right. So here is a really interesting point. Is Ben is now talking about why they made shards burn when you fail to capture something. And so basically he says it comes down to emotive rewards versus cost. Ben really coming in clutch today's episode, by the way. So we had it at a higher capture rate prior, 55%. It's currently about 36%. But we found players expected to be successful on the capture since they usually had 3+ capture attempts. They didn't lose their shards and the escape chances were low. So the chances of missing an alluvial capture was very slim. Very fair. That sucks from a game design point of view. If players expect to receive rewards, then the emotive payout of doing so is pretty much zero. I somewhat disagree. You can expect to capture an Atlas every time, but expect to fail a Ramfire half the time. You know what I mean? They don't have to be the same thing, but it is what it is. So our big capture moment wasn't delivering emotively, and then this meant that to be the biggest emotive moment of the overall experience. Right now, players who win battle well should be successful in capturing. I like the idea of rewarding people who battle well, but players that barely win will often fail to capture level. I like this juxtaposition. I guess what's been going through my mind ever since they made this change, and for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to give you a little leak here. They made this change a week before PB4. I was internally testing and this was not thing, and then they decided to try this, and I guess they really liked it. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on it?
All I know is I burnt through 4 uncommon shards, all with a 66% chance in a row, trying to capture an alluvial, and it felt really bad. But maybe that's the point.
No, it's not. Yeah, look, there are some on the team that are keen to try this out and see what it looks like, and there are some that are very, very much against it. Your feedback, and everyone else's feedback on this is going to be very, very important in the direction that we take this. I would say be very vocal about your experience with this. I think that's the best way for me to put it. Whether you're absolutely loving it, you say, yo, we absolutely need this. Look, be vocal about it. And if you don't like it, if you're expecting negative user experience because of it, or you are experiencing negative user experience, be sure to be extremely vocal, because this is one of those key features that I think the developers the team, the team and the community needs to be aligned on. It's not something that we can get off target, and we need to be on the point with this one. So everyone's feedback here is going to be very, very important, and I ask that everyone is extremely vocal about this in the politest way possible, and give a rationale for why you are being vocal in your thoughts.
Like, I'm in an awkward mindset here. I actually both love and hate it. I would like to see a way for them to not break after one try, maybe break after two, but I know how hard that is to implement and how confusing that is for players. All right, so maybe that's off the table. But the other thing, like Anestus has said, now that Shards gone when fail, a bit more percentage is better to capture it. I agree with that as well. What I actually think is the solution is make them cheaper to make them way cheaper to produce, and then have them have the ability to burn. And I think that would be way more interesting. As Ben says, I think I might even have it here. Ben says even here that the end result is that the cost to acquire wanted Alluvials is the same, but the stakes are higher and a little bit more generous with the loot. It means that they can give out like 100 shards in like a run. You can get so many shards because of all these other elements detracting from the effect of getting all those shards, which I think is actually a really good change. I actually really like that. And the Master Shards help fix some of this as well. But the problem is that curing the shards is really expensive. Personally, I believe that overworld travel should be really important. But right now, or at least what I found when I was watching the testers and things like that, is that Hyperion is like a 5-to-1 spend, right? Like people are spending 5 times more on Hyperion than they are on Krypton to travel to the regions. I think you balance those two and you solve your problem.
Kieran's mentioned this, I believe he mentioned this on stream or in an AMA, where we're already starting to notice some of the disparities within the use of fuel. So yeah, we are looking at it, and it's already been what's really good is that we're already getting those data points now, because we're having many more players test out the game. So yeah, it's good that we're able to start looking at those numbers and really fine tuning and figuring out which direction we want to take this.
And I wouldn't even mind the shard to not break, but then you might even need to make it a little bit more expensive. But it will balance different no matter what you do. It'll be more expensive or cheaper to make sure it balances with overworld runs properly.
I would love for everyone in the chat right now, just put it in the chat whether you want the shards to break or stay the same. I mean, you could say 1 for break and 2 for just stay the same, or whatever. You can just use words. But yeah, if you had to pick one, Skyrox, what would you pick? Like in an ideal world, let's say you were the master designer, and whatever you say goes, what would you pick?
I think break and make them a lot cheaper.
Very fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's
so one is really. I forget what one was.
I'm really.
What did I say? One was one break.
Yeah, you said break or not break. I think you said break was 1. Yeah.
Everyone, wow, this is very, very trippy to me.
Well, Immortal Shards from Ream. There's an interesting, 50% break chance is another thing I thought of. But there's another side of this. What if you had another tier above it? What if you had your common cured shard, which could break, or you can spend an extra amount of thingo to make a common shard that was unbreakable? You know what I mean? And you have 2 tiers of shards for those who want to take the chance and gamble, and those who don't want to gamble as much, but got to spend a little bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the worst idea, actually.
So that's what I'm saying is breaking has so many merits, but it needs to be fine-tuned. I don't know what the solution is. I even like the 50% break chance. I thought about that before, actually, as well.
I am very surprised at the amount of people that said break.
Yeah, I think everyone just wants it cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, but it still works out roughly the same. But okay.
My biggest gripe at the game right now is that not everything's NFTs. It kind of bugs me. But that's because I love digging into the data. So
yeah, dude, honestly, trust me, it's I would love to start grinding like a perfect static thing as well.
No, no, I
Uh,
didn't even mean that. I mean like the ores you mine, they're not NFTs,
so
and the
you
alluvial
can't look at the data.
stats don't even show up on the alluvidex. So you can't actually sell an alluvial and be its perfect stats. It doesn't show up.
Yeah, which is it's being worked on, and that actually leads into Brian's question: will there be updates, patches during PB4? Yes, they will be. Which is why we wanted to test out the first 10,000. You want to bring that up, Sharks? That comment,
Yeah,
Brian's
yeah.
night, yeah. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of things even in the next month when we open it up to and remove the restrictions on the amount of players. It's going to be I want to say vastly different game, but there's going to be quite a few differences in what we're experiencing now compared to what we experienced then. So yes, things are going to be changing, expanding, updating very rapidly.
I actually want to give you guys a leak. So when I was internally testing, one of these days, who was it? I think it was Jeremy. Jeremy was like, an update's going live. Don't play the game. An update's going live or whatever. When he finished the update, he put a message into our little chat saying what all the changes were. That message was huge. It took me
Hmm.
like 5 minutes to read it all, and it was dot points. And I'm like, Jesus, these and like half the things in the game changed. Like everything changed so much. They just their speed of iteration is actually really, really fast, and that gets me more excited than anything else. It was really cool to see, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future. We just got
Hmm.
30 people on Twitch. I have no idea why or how, but I'm going to assume Kieran rated me or something, but that's really awesome to see.
That is expecting too much of Kieran for him to know how to
Or
rate.
that's a bug. I don't know. That's really I've never seen that before. But great to have you guys all here.
Yeah, in terms of the iterations, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of new things. Like I know that the team's working on a major Forge overhaul, UI UX there. That's very much needed.
Mm.
We've suggested multiple things internally, even such as pinning a craftable item that you want to pin, or multiple. I've said up to 5. So if you just pin a bunch, that way on your screen you know all the resources you need at all times. You can go out into the overworld and start ticking them off. So once you hit the certain amount you need for a certain item, you can go switch your target into something else and really maximize your run. So
Yeah.
there are going to be things like that.
I
So a
made
lot
that
of
comment more than once, and they said they were working on it. So that gets me
yeah
excited.
quests. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw. I mean, you can bring this up. Do you want to bring up Bryson's tweet? If you go look at Bryson's tweet, he
Yeah.
put up his pros and cons, and I responded to it in I think a very professional manner without.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
Just
let me
finding
bring it
it.
up. No, it's all right. You can show people that you're finding it. But yeah, keep going now. There it
This
is.
one?
Yeah, I mean we can read it together. Yeah. So the pros that he thought is the tutorial is obviously a W. The game feels smoother. Catching sequence moves closer to Palworld. Absolutely, especially once we look at alluvial combat, and when that comes to life, that's going to be insanely smooth. Especially once we get rid of the arena completely from the overworld, which I think is is a huge thing, and we talk about that a little bit more as well. The game is graphically beautiful. We don't need that as a pro. We know this. Alluvials running around, yes, and there's more of that coming. There's a lot more of that. So the thing that I really wanted to focus on was the cons. So he still thinks that the world feels bare. I won't say I disagree. Actually, we'll read this and then we'll see my responses. Yeah, yeah, we'll read this. So, Order Battle is not his personal favorite. Cool. There's a lot of moving parts. It seems it can come off as confusing, understandable. Add missions, quests, goals, things that can aid the gamer, and bring some lore into the world or game. And then he talks about the potential and the promise of it. But yeah, if you scroll down a bit, you should be able to see my response.
Oh, you've commented. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't focus on the pros. So straight to the cons. In terms of the updates that we have cooking, like yeah, I think he talks about quests. He talks about missions. That's definitely going to be a thing. I think Kieran has previously mentioned. I think I can say this. Kieran has previously mentioned multiplayer. I think Aaron has kind of mentioned this as well. So there are things that are being cooked up behind the scenes to really make the world feel alive. In terms of the order battler thing, again, I feel the same way. I'm not a big fan of the auto battler. I've tested the first iteration of the combat. I think even in the janky state, it's so much more fun. I think Scarix, me and you, we used to play Palworld a little bit together, and it had a similar kind of feeling to that, which I think is very, very exciting. In terms of the tutorial,
I think I'm gonna miss. I think I'm gonna miss the auto battler. I'd like it to still remain in some way, even if you find, I don't want to say gym battles, and then that's an auto battler. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, or like a special raid or something. I think it can be done. It can be done. But yeah, if you scroll up just a little bit more, we'll finish this. Down my comment. Go to my comment. Yeah. Yeah, so the tutorial, what we saw was actually just a little bit of the tutorial. It's obviously we don't want to spoil any lore just yet. So that there's a lot more with the tutorial that's coming out, and I think it's going to be a very holistic tutorial. So it should kind of sort out a lot of the confusion that people might have. So that's going to be very cool. Quest missions. It's funny that he brings that up. That's probably going to be one of the next things that gets implemented, which will be very, very cool. Lore coming soon. Yeah, very, very soon. That where there's plans for that and how that gets introduced to the public. So yeah, a lot of the negative feedback, or I'd say constructive feedback that we're getting from the public, it's what's really cool is that we're not reacting to it. And what I mean by that is we've actually already planned for it. We're already working on it. It's just things that it's nice to know that the team and the community are aligned on the direction that we need to go, which is really cool.
Yeah. I know it's coming. I can't wait to see a lot of that stuff. But I more can't wait to keep my Alluvials. That's definitely my priority at this point. I can't wait for the game to kick off, which is going to be super awesome. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it again. Obviously, I got bored with it for a while because it just wasn't that sticky enough. The new Alluvials, if I had to name one thing that was making me really extra excited, is it's trying to collect those new Alluvials and maybe even trying to build towards an arena team so I can play in the arena. That's super exciting as well. I haven't even jumped into the arena yet, but I like the idea of like, I'm going to get together this team and so I can play, which I don't know.
It's very, and I know you have a, I don't know if this is, you set me up for this one as a transition, but I know you have an Inferno coming up this weekend. And to test out this exact same thing, right? And I'm actually going to be participating. I don't have time to grind, which is kind of, I'm feeling like I'm going to be on the back foot there. So I really want to stay up one night and be like, hey, look, let me get all my work done and then spend one whole night just grinding to try and get a somewhat viable team for that tournament, which I think will be really, really cool.
It'll be super fun. I like how the T0s, not many people are collecting them right now, but they're going to be really helpful for the upcoming tournament as well. And for anyone else, no, it's going to be a bit of a guild brawl. We're getting together a bunch of different partners. They're all going to come in and we're going to just have a really fun tournament. You guys are going to love it. You guys are all going to watch, I'm sure. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Me and Jimbo hosting, of course, because it's the Inferno. Yeah, I can't wait for that. After my stream tonight, I'm going to prep all the graphics and everything.
Yeah, it'll be the first tournament that myself and Dick are going to be able to join, which I'm really, really excited about, and especially because it's our stuff that we collect. It honestly, this really gets me more excited for Leviathan, to be completely honest, because one of the things that I'm very excited for is actually grinding out good statted Alluvials, like playing around with the
stat stuff is cool. Oh yeah,
it's really cool, especially once you get hollows involved as well. Like it's very, very. That's where I think I'm going to spend a lot of my time, just so I can go in Leviathan and even though if I don't have the best team, just knowing that it's my team and it's what I trained it up to be. It feels that it really has that deep connection there. So yeah, very excited to see how it all plays out.
I've seen some others say it in Gen Chat and things like that. I am getting my early vibes of Pokemon again. I just am, and I don't know how to describe it. Obviously, it's not quite the same. I was a kid when I first played Pokemon and things like that, but I'm really getting that nostalgia of I want to go and collect them all so that I can use them in battle, so that I can beat the final boss or whatever. I just want to go and collect them. We need a bit more of a story. I'm starting to realize that now, even though I've never been big into the story of Pokemon. but I'm excited to collect them and use them in battle and everything. And I'm getting that vibe from like, I can't go to a stage 2 run because my team's going to get whooped every time. And maybe I'm keen for like a stage 4 or a stage 5, like some really hard difficulty stuff that's at the back end here. Or maybe that's just the arena PvP, you know what I mean? So I'm excited for the future.
Yeah. One of the things I'm really keen to get implemented as soon as possible is a XP screen at the end of a battle. You know how Pokemon has a thing that comes up from the left. It's like ding when you level up. Like having that and seeing your Alluvials level up. And this is just my opinion, but I would really like an XP share. Like I'm not usually a big fan of it, but I think you shouldn't be punished for playing the game properly. If you have, for example, a couple of fire units that you want to level up, but the board, your enemy board that they give you, or the overworld gives you is water, you shouldn't be punished for it. You should still be rewarded for playing it right and beating the match, and they still get XP for that. So I think anything in your party should be getting XP, not just what gets played. But that's just
Don't get me started. I'm actually really loving the overworld right now. The one thing that is really bothering me is it takes way too long to level up Alluvials. The progression around every other aspect actually feels really cool. The alluvial leveling just doesn't feel like progression. It feels way too slow. Maybe not having the UI implemented for seeing them level up is impacting that. It's probably having an effect, but
100%.
It feels rough.
No, 100%. And I think that visual representation and kind of seeing that you're leveling up, like it's such an obvious thing to implement as one of the top priorities, in my opinion.
You love
yeah,
to see it.
Steve,
All right.
Brian, you can't do that in our game because it's in order battle right now.
So Kieran has said that maybe we could make the season shorter and have 2 claims once every 3 months, or all the people who claim and earn will boast on socials. I don't know, 6-month season, claim and unlock whenever you want, but you lose whatever is invested. There's been a massive ongoing discussion happening right now regarding the airdrop vesting and all that sort of stuff. Kieran suggested maybe that they can claim each month, but then they would forego a ton of their rewards and stuff like that. I think that might be a good compromise. Honestly, I was advocating for very reduced vesting and things like that, but at this point, I'm a bit on the fence. Like, one, reduced vesting helps all of the airdrop farmers and stuff like that, which I think are important to engage with in the wider Web3 space, especially if you're gunning down that meta. But the longer vesting and everything benefits people who actually enjoy Illuvium, enjoy the game, and enjoy the long-term vision, which is also very, very important. And so you've almost got to pick one of your archetypes, but I think there are ways to kind of go down the middle, and I don't think we currently are. But the community and team are working together on this is quite well, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to where this conversation goes. But I mean, it is what it is. I just hope it works out well for Illuvium.
Yeah, I'm not going to add my comments on this part.
Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, you cannot claim the testnet ETH from the DAO until you do a stage 0 run. Go do a stage 0 run, come back, and then claim it.
Or any run. You don't even need to complete the run. Just go in, shoot something, come back out. And you just need to do that every day. If you do that every day, you are eligible to claim every day.
Okay, here's the big announcement for Private Beta 4 is now live on testnet. Don't forget, there will be no links and no wallet connection. Okay? You will get a code sent to your email. It will be locked to your passport. You cannot share them around, I don't think. Grab that, put it into Epic Games, and you're good to go. And right here, I will show you a thing. Wildfire made this really awesome graphic the other day on how to download Illuvium. Head to your profile on Epic Games, select redeem code, enter the code and redeem, and then go and download and install the game. Simple enough. You guys are going to love it. The next thing is Illuvium X Steppen official partnership alert. Honestly, I bought the top on Steppen, so I'm probably never going to return. I think the game's okay. That being said, these sneakers are actually really cool.
The shoes look sick. Yeah.
They look so great. I love them. Yeah. I would buy that in real life. Probably that one. Maybe this squiz is a bit much.
I would buy all of them.
Buy the Atlas.
I'd buy all of them as a collection. Like I'd probably never wear them, but I'd keep them as a collection.
They are so cool. I love them so much. All right. The next thing, week 14 creator rewards. I need to step up my game. I got top 20 on both of them, but really down the list here. Congrats to everyone who did really well, though. Archer Perez, I've seen a lot of his stuff. Storming, obviously doing some great work. Moon Carl
Bitcoin to go. Cool to see him. Moon Carl, happy to see him on. That's a massive shout out to Maurizio, Mr. M podcast. I think he went on Carl the Moon's channel and was talking about us, talking about the airdrop. So that's how that got there.
Yeah, so people doing some really good work. A lot of new creators and new faces I haven't seen before, so that is super exciting for Illuvium.
Yeah. Actually, go up a little bit.
Yeah, one sec.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Yeah, scroll. I mean, you can see it here. Where are they? Yeah. So I don't know if you saw this, but it's not for this week. This was a week ago, but this current week. But Cultivate Crypto and Dollar Cost Crypto went on the Fresh and Fit podcast. I don't know if you saw that.
Did they
and
really?
They were like, yeah, bro. And they were talking about Alluvium a lot.
I have to see that. I don't even like that podcast, but that sounds funny as hell.
No, it was really, I mean, the podcast has 1.57 mil subscribers. And it was really cool. So massive shout out to Dollar Cost Crypto and Cultivate Crypto for that one. Charlie and Miguel, absolutely. Yeah, it was awesome. They were talking about how like some cryptos are pure gambling and things like, and some are investments. And they were like, yeah, so Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, Illuvium, those are investments. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm glad we made the cut.
Solana, really? Oh,
I mean,
Solana's also gambling, but like the more safer kind of gambling.
I'm not. Yeah, I was just highlighting.
It's like peak meme coins is Solana.
So we might actually see a Fresh and Fit on the creator rewards for next week for simply having it on the channel.
That could be funny. All right,
funny as hell.
The next one we got here is Hobart's giving a really glowing review that the game is fun and generally gives him the old Pokemon tick all over again. And he found a Heady, and you can see its stats and everything. Absolutely love to see it. Very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one we've got here is I actually posted a little Q&A thing. If you guys have any questions you've seen asked and you want to answer it, go jump down here, add it into the comments so other people can see that. Illuvium liked it enough to repost, so I really appreciate that. But yeah, I just thought I know that I saw there was so much confusion, so many questions going around. I just wanted to help out, and seems that people got something out of it. So that was really awesome. I'll have to do that every single time we have one of these moments. But yeah, is there anything else you want to leave us off on before I go stream in Illuvium?
Not at all, man. I need to get back to work. So I hope everyone that did get in is having a good time. If you haven't, chill out. We're still bringing that in, and there was a lot of demand for it. So we might see more spots open up potentially. Just bear with us, and worst case you get in a couple of weeks, so you will be getting access to a honestly much better game than what it is now anyway, so it's probably works out for everyone.
Awesome. And with that, we better the download is complete. We had a really good episode today. I can't wait for next week. And if anyone's still here, I'm going to be streaming the next part of the hunt for Scoriox in just 5 minutes. So stay around on the YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. I'm going to be doing all three. I cannot wait to jump into it. We're going to start building our water team. And don't forget to check out the Illuvium Inferno this weekend. All in all, I think I'm going to have like 5 streams this week. Crazy.